If you were to ask me what happened to the American dream and the nuclear family, I would answer it like this. I'm going to start off with this. I know 1,000 blue collar workers, right? People that own businesses or work for people that I know that own businesses. And I would say the vast majority of them could be, if they wanted to be, single income families, right? I don't know an electrician that makes less than 6 figures. Now, I know some workers, some apprentices that don't make 6 figures, but they also know that the future's wide open for them, and that in a couple of years' time, they'll be making 6 figures. So they know don't fret that, right? But I think what they did was they developed a system systematically in a few ways, all right? One was they compartmentalized all the job positions in the major corporations and the big office firms and whatnot. Compartmentalized, making you just basically a cog in the machine, right? The machine has to perpetually run, and you're there and you just do your little part. You do your little thing. This is your desk. This is your cubicle. This is where you're going to do this little piece of the action, right? Blah, blah, blah. And we're going to pay you a living wage. And that's what men have done. Men go to school and they get their they get their degree, and they come out and they get these jobs, right? And they're just a cog in the machine. Well, at the same time, they spent decades portraying women as almost like inferior to men. And basically the media was complicit in this. They went out and spoke about how women didn't make the same wages as men, or didn't deserve the same wages as men, and blah, blah, blah. And there's a lot of stuff to back this up if you just search the history and even watch comedians make fun of it, blah, 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 And so what they did was they created the feminine movement, and they made it so that women bucked the system and went out and became career women to try to prove that they were equal, if not better, to men. And of course they can be. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. Well, while all this was going on behind the scenes, they kept inflating us and devaluing our currency and making the cost of living become more and more. So all of a sudden, this idea that you had these men that were just cogs in the machine making a living wage, then you also had these women now out in the career world, and they were making a living wage. Well, you combine that living wage and the system, the bankers, whatever, created the system and developed a system where you needed now those two incomes to survive if you wanted to live a decent, aka American life, and be able to go on vacations and drive a newer car and have a cell phone and have cable, or whatever you were into, right? It was a system that was created. Well, now it's 2025, and all I see are these things all over Instagram and Facebook and TikTok about how the cost of living is so crazy that there's no way that a woman could ever stay home and raise her children, blah, blah, blah. It can't happen. Well, I'm telling you firsthand that I know 1,000, maybe not quite 1,000, but I know in the blue collar world, which is the one thing that never gets pushed, right, except for Mike Rowe, in the blue collar world, everybody that does what I do can not only makes a living wage. I mean, we do fucking well. We do great, like you can make a lot of money in the blue collar world. If you're skilled and you get into a skilled trade, you can make a lot of money. You just have to go after it, and you have to want it. And you have to I bucked the educational system. I was like, school's not for me. I'm not going to do that. Now, granted, I had no real plan as to what I was going to do. And I just kind of fell into some things. I was a chef at one point. I went into drywall work, and then, now I'm a general licensed contractor, doing additions and bathrooms and kitchen remodels and whatnot, and I got a whole staff of people that work with me, and a few full-time employees myself, It just seems crazy to me that that there's this attitude out there that you can't live the American dream as a single income family. And I think that it's what the country really needs, in my opinion. I think that it should be the thing that people are striving for, is if you have children and young children in the house, your wife should be a stay-at-home mom, at least for a few years, to bring those kids up you know what I mean, in a nurturing and loving household while the husband is out working. And really, the only path, or the true path to this, if you're not going to be, if you didn't buy Bitcoin at the right time, or you don't know how to play the candlestick game, as I've heard it referenced, the only other thing that's out there that you can make the kind of wages to be able to support this kind of lifestyle is entrepreneurship, owning your own business, making sure that that you and your family are the bottom line of your business. And that's it. That's the secret, you know? So anyway, I just kind of wanted to put it out there and like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts. I know this one's a little longer and whatnot, but it's just what I think what's going on in the world today. So thanks for your time.